In a series of videos, we are learning about HTTP client module. In the previous video, I walked through an example that manages the country list. I mentioned that this example uses HTTP client module to interact with the backend. In this video, first we will understand the architecture of a full stack application, then I will explain the architecture of the example that we are going to implement. In a full stack application, data should be stored in a database. Backend interacts with the database and provides a set of services to the front end. A front-end application calls backend to get the data from database and display the results. The front-end application can also capture data from the user and send it to the backend service to store the data in the database. The responsibility of the database is to save and read data. Its primary focus is the speed by which it can store and retrieve data. The responsibility of backend is to hold the business logic. It gets data from database, processes it with business logic, and provides the data to the front end. The backend also accepts data from front end, does necessary business logic, and stores the data in the database. The responsibility of front end is to display the data and capture data from the user. A front end depends on backend services to display and save data to the backend. The communication between backend and database happens through TCP/IP protocol. The communication between front end and backend happens through HTTP protocol. This is the reason why the module in Angular that interacts with backend is called as HTTP client. This is the standard architecture of any full stack application. Hope the explanation provided so far helps to understand about the end-to-end architecture of a full stack application. Now the question is, how are we going to implement the backend service and database for our example? For database, respective software needs to be installed and the database needs to be set up. For backend, we need a web server software and we need to develop a web application implemented using a programming language. It is going to take longer amount of time to complete this setup, hence we are going to use a simulator that helps to quickly launch backend services. The backend service simulator that we are going to use is JSON server. It is a simple open source tool written using JavaScript. This is a lightweight tool that can be used for learning or to quickly build a working application. Using JSON server, we can quickly launch REST API services, and it also contains a database. The example Angular application that we are going to implement will use HTTP client module to make REST API calls to JSON server. You should not think that JSON server is sufficient to build backend services. Hence, I have elaborated about the full stack architecture in this video, and I explained why we are using JSON server, so that you clearly understand when to use JSON server and when to actually build backend service with database. Hope this video helps to understand how our example application is going to work end to end. From the next video onwards, we will start building the example application.